Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's last daily meditation. We're back again with Kaira Lingo this morning. Welcome, Kaira. Thank you for joining us again today. And great to see you all saying hi in the sidebar. As always, it's just so nice to see everybody's messages and where you're viewing from. So if you haven't said hello already, please feel free to do so if you'd like to. Just to update you about Martin, he's still weak but stable, and we think it's likely that he won't be back next week. He's still resting up and doing his best to recover. So Kaira has kindly said that she will continue with the meditations during next week. So yeah, that's a brief update for you. And in terms of this morning, as usual, we're here for an hour, starting off with a short reflection, then going into a half an hour guided meditation, and then an opportunity for questions and answers at the end of the session. If you'd like to ask a question, feel free to let us know if you'd like to come on screen. You can type your message in the sidebar there, and I can bring you on and you can ask Kaira your question directly in person. Alternatively, if you prefer, you can put your questions in writing. There's an ask a question menu item right underneath the video screen there that you'll see. If you click on that, you'll get a pop-up box, and that will give you a space where you can put your question in, and Kaira will see those coming up and read those out for you. I'd also like to mention Dana. We have substantial running costs that are ongoing and that we need to continue to meet. And the only money that we get are in order to be able to meet those costs is from your donations and from the courses we sell. But at the moment, it's primarily from the donations we're getting from these daily sessions. And so we would be really, really grateful if you could donate, whether it's your first time donating or you donate on a regular basis. We're really grateful for anything that you're able to give, because, as I say, the costs that we need to meet are not small. It's really easy to donate and quick. You can just click on the offer donation /Dana button, which is underneath the screen, and that will give you some options of how you can give. So yeah, much appreciated. Thank you in advance for your generosity. So I'm going to take myself off and hand over to Kaira, and I hope you all enjoy the session this morning.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. And one second here. Warm greetings to everybody. I'm very glad to be back with you today. So today, I wanted to offer space for us to honor grief. There's a lot happening in our world right now, a lot of loss, a lot of disruption, a lot that we have to separate from that can be quite painful. And to begin this dive into this subject, I want to first invite us to resource ourselves. And for that, I'd like us to just reflect on what it is that we're grateful for in this moment, what it is that is bringing us nourishment or inspiration or a sense of connectedness, a sense of aliveness in our lives. So I'll just give everyone a moment to ponder, what is really something good in our lives right now that we're grateful for. It gives us a sense of grounding or a sense of beauty, a sense of joy, a sense of wonder. And just really feeling in touch with whatever that is, however small. It might be the tiny flowers that you are noticing coming out near where you live. It might be the simple beating of your heart. So if you like, anyone who wishes, just checking in, but can you still hear me? Okay, great. Okay, so if the screen freezes, you can refresh your browser. But it does sometimes happen that it freezes for everyone, and then it's me that I need to refresh my browser. So if you'd like, you can take a moment and write in the chat whatever it is that you were in touch with, that you feel grateful for, that you feel inspired or energized by. You don't have to write in the chat, but if you wish, you can, and we'll give ourselves a little bit of time to read these reflections. The warmth of my dog sleeping on my lap right now. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. My family, my friends, family, and flowers. The art and my creativity. My sister staying with me and braiding my hair. I'm grateful for Sangha Live and for you, Kaira. Thank you. My daily solo kitchen dance. Dancing with my daughter. My plants. I'm grateful for spring and beauty all around. Nature, all nature. The skylights in my room that I can see the sky from. I love my family. Having a hug. The morning light. Remote contact with friends and family and the dog. I have to find, okay. Cherry blossoms in my garden. I'm grateful for my friends, my twin, the earth holding me, my lovely cat, my children, my garden, my job, my friends, so much. My plants. To be able to sit mentally, emotionally, and because there's no war, because I'm not starving. Grateful for my health. Someone else, spring and the smiles of my children. I was surprised, my work. That's what came up for, for someone. Beautiful. Peace, silence, beautiful days, and my beautiful friends and family. My breath. My hibiscus plant inside is flowering. Walking in nature. Friendly people on the cycle path. Being able to go for a walk in nature, seeing the migrating birds arriving. Being together with my family and all busy with music, creativity, and connection. walking outside with my son and dog, spring birds, the Sangha, the green of springtime. These sessions, I'm alive, my children are getting on, the sky, the new greens. Family, friends, Sangha live. I'm grateful for nature talking to me, the sky, waking up in the morning. Grateful for being healthy. I'm inspired by wisdom. A hug of reassurance earlier. My healthy body. The rain yesterday was beautiful, gentle. I'm grateful that my husband has got better from coronavirus, and my daughters who have not moaned at all during this time. Life and all what comes with. My lovely neighbor. For the mountain where I live now. My family, music, trees, and the blue sky. The experience of hearing your voice now. Nature and the Dharma. My healthy body. The breeze. For Sangha Live, my sight, my health, technology which permits contact. Togetherness. For the love of my daughter. The song of the blackbirds. The joy of citrus. Friends and colleagues. Siesta with my dog. Nature, life and family. This amazing Sangha. Spring, blossoms. My practice that sustains me and makes everything richer. The grace of this spiritual path. Daily bike rides down a country lane. Having sustained time to process my thoughts and my life. This shared moment every morning which offer peace, love, and stability for the day. My dog nudging me with his gentle muzzle when I would otherwise be alone here. Hearing the first cuckoo of spring and seeing the swallows. So there's many more, and it's so beautiful to read these. I'll let people just scroll and read a bit more. I'll read just a few more. For the stranger who picks up my medication every month. Flowers. Thank you. So I just want to invite you to feel into how that made you feel, writing something down and listening to others share their gratitudes. I'll just reflect for myself. I feel very full in my heart right now and very connected to you all and more aware of all the goodness in my life too. So thank you for sharing that. It's a wonderful way of watering our good seeds, our happiness together. So resourcing ourselves in this way, we have some groundedness and sense of connectedness that helps us to turn towards also our pain, that which we've lost or that which we might be grieving. So part of the practice is to create a healthy circulation in our psyche, so that just like we want our body to be in good circulation, so we exercise, so we, massage when there's tension, when there's something stuck, we do movement or, change the energy somehow. It's the same in our minds. Things can get stuck in our minds, and there can be blocks of pain that can kind of hold a lot of energy hostage in our psyche, and so we don't want to do that or push it away. We want to, just like we would massage something painful in our bodies, when we're well resourced, when we are well supported, we can choose, if we want, to also massage these places in our psyche. And it's not something that we should do if we don't feel that we are ready to do it. So it's very much something each of us can choose. When is the right time and what's the right place? So this is an invitation for us today, and you're welcome to take it or not. And but it's in the larger. The intention is to not to create pain that isn't there. That's not what we're doing, but it's acknowledging what's already here that might need some care and some attention, and being together on a call like today and bringing loving attention, loving care, grounded in gratitude, grounded in the health of our collective inspiration and wholesomeness. We can just gently massage, maybe, some piece of that pain that is wanting to be released, actually. And when we allow it to come up and we hold it with care, it holds the key to a lot of our healing, a lot of our transformation. So rather than avoid it or our grief, our suffering, pushing it away, we want to allow it to come up in the right setting, in the right way. So it's almost like we're together in this meditation that we're going to do. We're creating a bit of a ceremony together to hold and care for ourselves. And I'll just share my inspiration. I draw inspiration from this practice that I'm going to share, also from ceremonies of healing that I was able to be a part of when I was a nun. And we went to Vietnam several times with our teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh. And the second time we went, we led ceremonies of healing. They were called mass requiem ceremonies. And the idea was to allow people to grieve their losses from the war that had happened. In Vietnam, it's called the American War. In the US, it's called the Vietnam War, but it depends on your perspective. So from the war, there wasn't, after the war ended, there wasn't really space for people to grieve. Many people lost loved ones, and they just had to shove it down and keep going. And so Thai, our teacher, wanted to offer a space for this grief to be released, so it wasn't held down and suppressed in a way that creates unhealth in the society. And so in all three areas of Vietnam, in the south, in the center, and in the north, we led 3-day-long ceremonies. So we did it 3 times, each time 3 days. And there was a tantric chant master and his monks, and then our many 70 or so monks and nuns from our tradition. And then each time there was thousands of lay people who took part. In one of them, I remember there were 10,000 people in Saigon. Maybe the other places that many also. But everyone was invited to write down the names of their deceased, how they had died and when they died. And these were put on, printed out, and then there were just papers and papers and papers of names stapled onto the altar. Offerings were put on the altar. And then we chanted through the night. I remember sitting up chanting for hours and hours through the night, sending energy, offering my concentration to those that were doing these special healing chants. And it was very powerful. This invitation of those that had died, or souls that hadn't been fully held in their transition, really make the transition and be supported in that. And it was, you know, a strange coincidence that on the third day it would always rain on the last day of the ceremonies. There was some kind of a response from nature, bringing healing, bringing some balm. But I experienced profound healing in my own ancestors. I brought in those from my country, from my history, into those ceremonies to be part of the healing. So, you know, Joanna Macy also speaks about the numbness that we feel in our daily life is often due to the lack of honoring our pain for the world, the pain for what we've lost, our grief in the face of so much destruction and devastation. And so when we turn toward that grief, when we honor it, we actually can move through that numbness and find a deeper, more enlivening relationship to life. So the meditation I want to offer you is from Stephen Levine, and it's a grief meditation. So just a real reminder that you're perfectly, it's totally your choice to decide if this is the right day, the right time for you to do this meditation. You can stop at any time. You can nourish yourself in some other way. You can come back to it and listen to the recording. Don't force yourself if you don't feel ready to do it today. But we're also here for each of you. Our whole group is here for every one of us. So you can also connect to that web of support of this group and let that hold you. So finding a comfortable position to let your body come to rest, whether sitting or lying or standing, whatever position. And we'll take a few moments to settle into the quietness, into the stillness. Gradually bringing your attention to the center of the chest. Let awareness gather at that place of high sensitivity. Notice any ache at the center. Is there a physically painful quality to your mental longing? So you're invited to bring your hand to your chest, and with the thumb, press gently into this point at the center of your chest, this point of love, also this point of possibly grief, if you connect to that. Begin gradually to exert gentle pressure on that point. Feel the sternum, the bone beneath, as though it were the armoring over the opening to the heart. as though it were that which blocked entrance so often to your spacious nature. Slowly, without force, but with mercy and steadiness, push into that point. Press in gently but firmly. Let the pain into your heart. Breathe that pain through that point into your heart. Stop pushing the pain away. Push into it instead. Let it in. Breathe that pain in through the grief point. Let your thumb push steadily, but without force, into that ache. Awareness entering deeply that point of sensation at the center of the chest. A merciful awareness, using the pressure on the grief point to enter through years of accumulated sediment of unfelt, unexpressed, unexamined feelings. Penetrating the exhaustion of our everyday, ordinary grief, compressed hard as rock. Push into the pain, past the resistance to life, past the fear, the self-doubt, the distrust. Push past feelings of being unsafe, past all that holding around being unloved. Past the 10,000 moments of putting yourself out of your own heart. Tenderly holding and moving with the judgment, the longing, the anger. Pushing past years of hidden grief, the shame and secret fears, the unrequited loves we have spoken of to no one, Let the pain in at last. Have mercy on yourself. Let it in.
Kaira, Jules, sorry to interrupt. I'm not sure if you can see, but I think screen has frozen, so you may need to try refreshing.
Can you hear me now? Great. Okay. For anyone who is wondering where that point is, I'm just adjusting my camera. This is where it is for me. So right in the center of my heart over this breastbone. But it may be, wherever it is for you, that's fine. So we'll just continue. Holding this point. And allowing in what wants to come in. Cradling this pain in our heart. Letting the breath gently rock the cradle. And if you want to rock and sway physically, you can do that. Rocking this difficult, painful grief. You can hum and lullaby this grief as you rock it in your heart. All the pain in our heart we've tried so long not to feel, now drawn in with each breath. Fear says stop, but gently continue in mercy for yourself. Push in gently to the fear, gently but firmly. Not as punishment, but as a willingness to go beyond old protections and devices for escape. Past the old fears. Have mercy on yourself. Let this pain you've been trying to elude come into the heart of healing. So much pain, so much posturing, so much hiding there. Let it in. It's so hard to live with our hearts closed. It's so hard to live armored and frightened, unavailable to life and to ourselves. Have mercy. Let the tender heart receive all those parts of you that say it is self-indulgent to forgive yourself. That cruel, merciless, judgmental mind. That cold indifference toward the suffering of others and ourselves. Let these griefs dissolve into the opening heart. Breathe them into your heart. Let them melt. Let them be healed. All the pain in this world, all the fear of this world, all the moments we've hated ourselves, all the moments we would have rather been dead, armored right there at the center of the chest, melting, opening. All the times we couldn't say what we wanted to because we were afraid we wouldn't be loved. All the times we wondered what love really was. All the times we were disappointed there at the center of the chest. So much holding. Breathe that pain into your heart. Let it in. Let it in. Each breath drawn in through the grief point carries the pain right into the center of our heart. There's so much room in our heart for our pain when we let go of the armoring and resistance. It's difficult to open to this grief pain in our tiny body, in our fragile mind. So breathe it into the enormous heart. Push into that point. Notice how part of our grief comes from trying to keep grief under control. This mercilessness with which we reject ourselves repeatedly. This often unkind mind, this fearful child we carry. Have mercy on you. Let it in your heart. Let it break your heart at last. Let it in. So much of ourselves pushed aside. All the places we won't forgive ourselves. All the places we are diminished. The despair, the helplessness. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. Let the breath take the pain to the center of your heart. The heart has room for it all. Each breath bringing old mind into the heart, melting in the embrace of such kindness and care. fear melting, doubt melting, the armoring falling away, exposing the luminescent whorl of the heart center, our shimmering nature discovered just beyond our pain. The sense of loss flickering, small, in the enormity, the vastness of the heart. Each breath drawing in gratitude for the moments shared with those we have loved and lost. And gratitude for the mystery of connection. Each breath drawing in all those who have passed away because of this virus, the coronavirus. Touching into all the love that has surrounded them. All the goodness in their lives. Grateful for that. Honoring them. The fear of a lifetime melting into the heart. Push ever so gently into it. Breathe that healing mercy right into your heart. Let it in. Hard edge sensations softening, dissolving into loving kindness, bringing home the lost child, the heart embracing the mind with the soft breath of mercy and the tender caress of forgiveness. As the grief point becomes the heart point, the body begins to hum. Feel the cells like a dry sponge absorbing this mercy and deep kindness. As the grief point surrenders its pain to the heart, the pained contents of the mind float in the spaciousness of mercy and awareness. The feelings of separation increasingly become a sense of inseparability from that loved one, from ourselves. Now let your hand come gently away from the grief point. Let your hands settle at ease. Take the pressure off that point and notice if there seems to be an opening where the ache used to be. Maybe you still feel the touch point of the heart when you take your hand away. And breathe in and out of that point. This is the breath of the heart. Let awareness of the flow between the world and your heart be your constant companion. Let the pain which drew your attention to the heart be an initiation into the healing you took birth for. May all beings be free of suffering. May all beings focus the spacious heart on the pained mind. May all beings know the joy of their great, deathless nature. So I invite you to gradually shift. Take a few breaths. If you need to make any movements, you can do that. If you want to rest in stillness a little bit longer, you can do that. And we'll move into our space together. And you're welcome to share in the chat any reflections from this practice. Maybe any messages from your heart that feel like they would like to be shared. You don't need to share anything. You can just be, but if you wish, you can share. And if there was any if there's any piece that you would like to ask our group to hold with you, you could write that in the chat. It's wonderful to read your experiences, whether you could flow with it or whether there was, some other experience that came. I really appreciate you sharing. One of you has written, I don't feel separated from my lost loved ones anymore. I feel I can still enjoy their love and support. I haven't lost them. Some of you have shared there were many tears. It was very powerful. My heart feels like a real sponge. Would that my arms were long enough to hug the whole Sangha. Thank you, that's beautiful. So Philippa is saying, please hold my lonely child. So I invite us to do what Mai so beautifully expressed. Our arms can hug the whole Sangha. That's the beautiful thing. So Philippa, we're all holding your lonely child in our arms. for the person who shares many painful tears for the baby I lost. We're all holding you and your baby. Thank you so much for this practice. I feel something has shifted from the pain and the guilt of almost losing my son when he was very little. Deep gratitude. So we're holding you and your son. This is a beautiful quote. Nobody has ever measured, not even poets, how much the heart can hold. One of you has written, still in great pain. So I ask all of us to hold Joanna, just holding you in our Sangha embrace, that you know that you are loved. And maybe this meditation can be something you could come back to, and if it feels helpful, you could try, you could practice it as a regular practice. One of you says, I was a bit lost. I felt I was making a lot of effort to feel. My mind went searching for experiences of grief. I moved from one to another, and in the end, it was all compassion for all beings who are now suffering. That's beautiful. It's okay if there's nothing clear that's coming from our own lives. I think that's very wise. There's always suffering somewhere. If we can't touch it in ourselves, we can embrace the suffering of others. Please hold my confusion. Please hold my pain. Please hold my vulnerability. We are holding you in your confusion, in your pain, in your vulnerability. We're letting it in. We're letting it into the Sangha. As a Sangha, we're holding it. So, thank you for your sharing and offering us the opportunity to be there for each other. This is very potent, one of you asks in the question and answers. Would you recommend it to people who have real heart problems? What would be the alternative? Wow, that's a good question. I haven't thought of that. And I don't know enough about heart problems on a physical level to give you an answer. I think if there's a concern that this could be harmful to those with heart problems, then it may be good to be careful. Perhaps this is just a thought. Someone who has heart problems could hold someone else's hand who didn't have heart problems and use their heart to do this practice, not pressing into their own heart, but holding the hand of someone who was pressing into their own heart, and see if that would be some way to access the physicality of this practice. And that's one thing that arises. Maybe others of you have experience adapting for this condition. So please share. Another question, is there something for the adolescents that you can suggest? Are there practices, webinars just for them? It's a great question, and thank you, Carolyn, for putting in the chat that Caverly has a new book on working with adolescents through peace in schools, and there's lots of information online if you Google caverlymorgan.org. There's also a wonderful website and group, Inward Bound Mindfulness Education, ibme.info. I'll put that in the chat. And they offer free daily meditations for teenagers and retreats. And I teach retreats with them, and they're offering online classes for teens. But there are definitely practices webinars just for them. On Insight Timer, the app, there are practices for teens as there are for children. So these resources do exist, and if you all here in our group know of others, please put them in the chat also. It's such a wise and rich community that we have here. We need to take advantage of all the wisdom here. One of you writes of this practice, profound, so much grief, but now a sense of acceptance for parts of myself, particularly my little one. Thank you so much. So glad to hear that. Yeah. Someone else says, thank you for the softening, so much deeper to go. In response to the question about the heart problems, says, I use my tummy area instead of heart. Thank you. I had thought of that too. I think that can be very effective also. Thank you for sharing that. So it's so good to be with you all. And Mark says, a lovely teacher of mine asked to hold my hand to support me through a painful moment, which helped tremendously. Yes, human touch is very powerful for healing. So the name of the meditation is Grief Meditation by Stephen Levine. And when we put the recording online, I'll put a link to the words of the text as well. And Laura, we're holding you with much compassion. You share that. Thank you for this opportunity to release more grief since my husband died a year ago. We're holding you in that loss. So thank you all so much, and I look forward to being with you again next week. And I also look forward to Martin getting better and being back with us. But thank you for this wonderful week. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good heart-opening weekend. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll look forward to seeing you again on Monday. Many blessings.